Ladies and gentlemen, now tomorrow the Attack on Titan collaboration is landing on Global, and today I've put together a list of teams and characters that I think are going to be really good for the Colossal Titan boss fight. I just want to say before we get into this video, this is all early speculation. The fight could be a little bit different. There could be some criteria that brings up a certain type of damage or kind of nerfs a certain type of damage, for example counters. However, in this video I'm going to be going based off everything I learned on JP, but on JP, like, most people were using like Estarossa, Shin, and Escanor, and just spamming like gold counters with Estarossa because it's really OP. But obviously Global being much earlier in the character release timeline, that tactic isn't available. Like Green Escanor, I think it's still going to be a beast, probably the best character for this fight, but we're going to need new strategies and also alternatives for people that don't have Green Escanor. So I went into the character roster. I was looking at all sorts of abilities, and I think I've come up with some strategies that I didn't see like anybody use on JP, but I think have the potential to be really good. But again, don't make any upgrades if you haven't upgraded like a certain character until this fight releases tomorrow, until we know that certain characters are guaranteed hype and really good for this fight. This is just an early theory crafting video, and there's no need to rush into any upgrades. You've got plenty of time to do this fight, and plenty of time for the event as well. So now that that standard disclaimer is out of the way, I've got two different categories. I've got likely to beast based on what I've seen on JP, and potentially awesome kind of based on looking at abilities and also early theory crafting as well. Like, I think Green Dreyfus, man, might have been like massively slept on JP because of his passive. It could be really insane for this fight. So yeah, I've got some strategies and ideas, man. I'm actually really excited for this fight to come to Global because I got all sorts of really weird stuff I want to try. So yeah, likely to beast. Escanor was just like the damage dealer MVP for this fight. You can debuff him, you can ignite him, so you can just go ham on Escanor. It's really good. And also the Colossal Titan does apply debuffs, and he does apply ult lock sometimes, but with Escanor's passive just completely ignores all of those, so that's really good there as well. Again, one of the main tactics on the Japanese version was golden Estarossa, taunts and counters, and just spam those. So I think with that in mind, like Green Mellie Otis, if you go for a particular strategy where you bring in somebody like Rema, or kind of just hold off on the heals so you can get his health down, so you can really get that counter damage up, and have like Jillian on the sub as well, I think Green Counter Mellie actually could be really sick if you add him like with a health set. So yeah, I'm curious to see whether or not he's going to be a viable and interesting option to pull off there, but I've got high hopes for Green Mellie based off like how good Estarossa was, but Estarossa is overall like a little bit better than Green Mellie, so I'll have to see on that one. Green Elizabeth was just really good for this fight, for keeping people topped up throughout it, also removing all of the debuffs that come, the ult lock as well, and just additionally funneling ults into Escanor so you can spam and get some massive damage there. Jillian for the sub if you're having problems surviving on the hardest difficulty, then Jillian is probably going to be the MVP if you're running like a mono green team there. If you are not having problems surviving, you might want to look at bringing in like Death Pierce, Alioni, or maybe if you don't have Elizabeth on the front, you might want her as a sub via the red version to get additional healing there. Jericho's one I didn't see played on JP at all. I know the Colossal Titan, when you're fighting him, you don't often crit, so it's very rare that you see crits. So I think on JP he did have a fairly high amount of crit resistance, but I also know from Final Boss King that if you use like enough moves on Jericho, you can eventually like get past that crit resistance. And this fight on the hardest difficulty had like a 15-minute timer, so you had like a lot of time to throw off moves. So I think with that considered, Jericho might be a really good option, and even if she doesn't crit, she's still got some pretty nice weak point damage. If you can apply the bleeds as well, I'm not too sure if you can apply bleeds, but if you can, they're going to deal some pretty decent damage. And obviously you've got an ult, and ideally you want the ult to crit, but even if it doesn't crit, you've still got some nice damage there. So yeah, I have a feeling that Jericho is going to be pretty damn good. Valenti as well, maybe an alternative for Elizabeth, just to boost the survivability of your team. Like damage-wise, Valenti, I don't think he's going to put in too much work. However, I guess with the ult, like he very often does have a buff active, so you can get like the double damage off Valenti's ult there. So I'd imagine actually she wouldn't be too bad damage-wise there, but I think Valenti is going to be a pretty solid option for people that have her built out, maybe alongside Escanor, maybe green counter Mellie as well, just because then everybody's health is going down, and you can eventually like get in the green, the counters toward the end of the fight in order to deal some massive damage and maybe pull ahead in terms of the scoring there as well. So yeah, I think that might work all right. And then we got green Merlin. Now Merlin, in my experience, she kind of works, but she's not the best because he does have an ability on one of his moves just to cancel all buffs, so that cancels Merlin's perfect cube. However, she still has some pretty decent damage on the drains, especially silver ones, and also the ult still hits relatively hard as well. So green Merlin is not too bad. Again, a character that pretty much everybody has built out, so if you don't have any other options, she might be pretty good there. Green Lizhawk as well has some pretty nice damage, and also via her ult hits very, very hard on that, so I would imagine she's going to be fairly decent there. I played a fair bit of Titan Eren versus the Colossal Titan on JP. Obviously, brand new character that arrives with the collab tomorrow, and he's alright for the fight. You don't get like the most damage you can out of this character, just because he does remove all of the buffs that you get in Titan form quite quickly. However, if you line up a combo where you transform into Titan mode, and then you have like those amplify cards already, you can deal some very nice burst damage there, and also his ultimate in Titan form hits very hard because it's essentially exactly the same as green Escanor's ult. So yeah, he works quite nicely. Also Alioni on the sub slot. Again, if you don't need the survivability for more damage, and red Liz, if you don't have a Liz on the front line, is probably arguably maybe a little bit more valuable in longer matchups in comparison to the 30% increased health, but again, it depends which strategy you're going for, and whether or not, you know, you want more health to kind of boost up like green counter Meliodas' damage there. So yeah, based off what I've seen on the Japanese version, I think these are the characters that are likely to be very good. However, I've also got another section of potentially awesome characters that I can't confirm are going to be good, but I have a really good suspicion that all of these characters might bring something really, really nice to the table. So potentially awesome, we have Blue Demon Meliodas. Now his Pierce card hits really, really hard if you got Pierce gear. Also his ultimate hits really hard as well. I don't think you can apply corrosion because that'd be a bit too cheese. But yeah, Blue Demon Mellie actually might be really, really good, especially combined with Lilia and Green Dreyfus as well. Because if you get Green Dreyfus to like 5 ult gauge and get his 200% Pierce unique passive, then Blue Demon Mellie's Pierce cards, they're hitting for about what is it, 200,000 damage each. So yeah, this could be like a really crazy cheese strategy if you can pull it off. I'm gonna try it like tomorrow, man. I'm really, really excited to try that. But I think Green Dreyfus is just a huge, huge one to keep an eye on. Like, I need to max out the character just in preparation for tomorrow. But again, his passive is just mad. And in a lot of scenarios, you don't really get to see it because fights don't last long enough. However, if this guy can just sit on like 5 ult gauge, everybody gets like mega crazy stupid damage. So yeah, I'm curious to see whether or not Dreyfus is actually going to be a huge MVP for this fight, because I didn't even think about trying him on JP, but looking at the list of global characters, I was like, dude, why didn't we try Green Dreyfus, man? I think he'd be really, really good for this. So yeah, I'm curious. Then we also got Blue Lilia, again, if you want to boost up Pierce a bit more, and also she does have healing and sustainability, and I think you could drain him as well to get rid of the ult. The ult really isn't that devastating, you can survive it, it's just really like any other card for the most part. So yeah, at least to the best of my memory, it really wasn't anything to worry about too much. Now, the next character, this may seem like a massive meme here, but this character is Hugo. Now, I have a bit of a weird feeling that Hugo, especially combined with somebody that can apply ignites or any sort of debuff, is actually going to be really, really good for this, because he's got a rupture card, and most of the time, the Colossal Titan is going to have a buff active, so you get double damage on that card. And then you've also got a weak point card, and then you've also got a weak point ultimate as well. So all 3 of his cards, he can unlock the double or triple bonus damage multipliers. So yeah, I think alongside like Escanor, man, Hugo actually might be really, really legit for this fight. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't test him on JP, because I think he's going to be actually a really decent budget character for it. So yeah, I'm curious to see if he turns out to be really good for that fight. Also Kayn as well, because again, you can't apply buffs to Escanor. He's going to be removing buffs. Kayn can apply a lot of ignites to the opponent, and a Colossal Titan, you can just ignite him into oblivion. So just use Kayn, maybe spam ignites. You can get like huge additional damage there. Could be a really good support character for Escanor. And because it's called Titan Conquest and not a traditional deathmatch, I don't think Kayn's passive works, but I may be incorrect on that one, so I'll have to like test out and see. Also SR Eren, I saw a little bit of gameplay from both Eren and Mikasa, and they seemed alright for the Colossal Titan. Again, they've both got like abilities that allow them to deal more damage in a longer fight, and I think SR Eren's passive means he deals 30% more damage, so yeah, he's not too bad. And being blue units, they don't have the advantage, but they've got a neutral, so that's pretty damn good there. Green King, I'm not too sure if Green King's going to work just because of the crit resistance that this guy has on his base. I'm not too sure if it's just going to completely like lock out King's ability to crit, but it might work. So yeah, I'm curious to see. And then we got Green Hauser. So again, this is another one that sounds I think really, really good on paper, but I'm not too sure in reality is going to be good or not. But I don't know. I've got high hopes. So he's got like a basic attack that has a really good damage multiplier there. It's like 240 on the bronze, but he also has this counter ability. So whenever any ally is attacked, he's gonna counter attack, and mostly the Colossal Titan, he's just spamming like AoE attacks, like slapping everybody, but you're gonna get like what is it, 3 of those every single turn. So yeah, that might actually really add up very, very nicely there. So I've got moderate hopes for this Hauser that he might be a you know, potentially good budget option for lesser developed rosters. Then we got Rimuru. Rimuru mainly for the single target healing. I think if you're trying to run like a counter Mellie comp, you know, you want to get Rimuru healed up, you want to get Escanor healed up, but you want the counter Meliodas to be quite low, so he might be alright for that. So yeah, I'm curious, and I guess you can also remove the buff as well to reduce the damage that you're taking a little bit. So Rimuru might be alright. Then we've also got Death Pierce, maybe on the sub if you're running like a crit focused team with Jericho. Again, I'm really not too sure crit is the way to go, but just to you know, throw it out there might be a bit of an option. And then finally we got Matrona Deeann. So I was thinking, like, the fact that he's got a buff like the majority of the time means that she can probably go in quite ham in terms of the what is it, the rupture damage there. So yeah, Matrona might not be too bad, but the fact that again he did have quite high resistance to crits on JP might not make her the best option. But yeah, I'm curious to see. So yeah, I've just thrown together like loads of team ideas and combinations. I think there are so many different ways that you can you know, set up your team and approach this fight. I think for a lot of people, a basic team to maybe start with is like Green Escanor, Green Liz, Jericho, maybe Jillian on the sub. You could also go for Escanor, Merlin, Jericho on the front lines and have like a red Liz on the sub. You can have Escanor, Valenti, Meliodas, and Jillian on the sub. If you're running like anything that isn't counter Meliodas, you can probably use lifesteal food as well to keep you topped up. If you're going for a counter Mellie strategy and want to try that out, then yeah, you probably want to run health food there. Also, like you run Escanor, Rimuru, counter Meliodas. We've got Green Liz, Rimuru, counter Meliodas. We got Jericho, Merlin, and also the Green Liz. So if you don't have Escanor, and then we've got the slightly more quirky like Pierce and also Green Dreyfus teams. So you could go for like Blue Team Meliodas, Lilia, Green Dreyfus, and also Liz on the sub as well. Or instead of Dreyfus, you could also add an Escanor because he's still going to benefit from the Pierce that Lilia brings to the table. So yeah, I'm kind of hopeful that Team Meliodas is actually going to be quite sick for this fight, but I really want to see how Green Dreyfus turns out. And then going down, we just got all sorts of combinations. We also got the combination of like what is it? Escanor, Hugo, Green Liz, Escanor, Dreyfus, Green Liz, one with Matrona, and also the counter Mellie Otis there. We've got a more damage focused one. This one actually might have the potential, if Jericho can crit quite consistently, to be one of the top ones maybe. So we've got like Escanor, Dreyfus, and also Jericho there. This is like a super ultra budget team that I think might work. You got Kane, you got Hugo, and you've also got Dreyfus. Dreyfus could maybe like massively buff up the damage, and Kane is going to synergize very nicely with Hugo to get all that weak point stuff. So yeah, I might try out like that super like SR and R meme team at some point. But again, there are just so many different options and ways that you potentially build your team. But again, just a standard disclaimer before we end off today's video. This is just all theory crafting and early speculation. Do not upgrade anything until the fight comes out if you want to make sure that it's guaranteed to be a really, really good option. We're going to be posting videos on counter Mellie Otis and also Green Dreyfus to see if those strategies do actually work out. So yeah, I'm kind of hopeful that they do, but it depends on the additional criteria and, you know, what else they have added or taken away from this fight when it does come to the global release, because they are probably going to alter it a little bit, because the hardest version, I think, will be a bit too hard on global at the moment without Super Awakenings and all of these additional characters that made the super extreme version, yeah, a bit of a challenge on JP. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts on team ideas and characters that you think are going to be really good for the Colossal Titan boss fight that is arriving tomorrow. But if you did enjoy today's early breakdown, please do smash that like button. That would be greatly appreciated. Aside from that, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.